Before you were an astronaut, you were a number. You were one application in a pile of 18,000. One file in a server rack somewhere in Houston, sandwiched between a fighter pilot from Nevada and a marine biologist from Woods Hole, who spent 3 years living in a pressurized habitat on the ocean floor. You were a resume, a test score, a psych profile. You were, in the cold arithmetic of the selection process, a statistical improbability dressed in human clothing. And right now, 9 days after you strapped yourself to the most powerful rocket ever flown by human hands, you are hurtling toward Earth at 24,000 miles per hour, and the Pacific Ocean is waiting. This is how you got here. The selection. 18,300 people applied. Read that again. 18,000 human beings, pilots, surgeons, engineers, oceanographers, physicists, who looked at their lives and said, I want to be one of the 4. You were one of them. You were one of, and you knew, in the way that anyone who has lived inside serious competition understands, that the people in that pool were not ordinary. There were no mediocre applicants. Everyone who made it past the initial screening was by almost any external measure exceptional, and you were being asked to be exceptional among the exceptional, to be the top of a distribution that had already culled everyone who wasn't extraordinary. The psychological batteries come first, not skills assessments. Psychological batteries. They want to know how you behave when you are tired, when you are afraid, when you are wrong, when someone you trust makes a catastrophic error. They want to know if you can maintain executive function when your body is at its limit and the problem in front of you has no correct answer. They put you in rooms and give you puzzles without solutions, and watch what happens to your effect when you discover there is no solution. They are not testing your intelligence. They are testing the texture of your mind under pressure. Then the medical disqualifications come. Quietly, without ceremony, the pool shrinks. The people who remain understand in a new and cellular way that simply continuing is its own form of selection. You pass the next round, and you feel something that is not pride but is adjacent to it, a grim satisfaction, like a soldier who survives not because they are brave but because they have learned to keep moving. You make it to the interviews. 4 people will be chosen. You are competing against a mathematical impossibility, and you get the call. Neutral Buoyancy Lab Houston, the Sonny Carter Training Facility, inside a swimming pool that holds 6.2 million gallons of water and a full-scale replica of critical spacecraft components sitting at the bottom. You're going to spend the next several years of your life in this pool. Your spacesuit, fully pressurized, weighs 300 pounds. You do not wear it, you inhabit it. The suit is its own closed system, its own atmosphere, its own thermal regulation, its own communication network. And it wants to kill you in about 15 specific ways if you let it, so you don't let it. You learn to move inside it with the deliberate, practiced patience of someone diffusing a device. Every gesture is expensive. Every adjustment costs energy you cannot afford to waste. 6 hours at a time, underwater. The pressure of the gloves is specific and constant, and over weeks it does something to the tissue under your fingernails that you are warned about in advance, and that is worse than the warning suggests. You lose fingernails, not metaphorically. The compression and the friction and the hours of manipulation cause the nail to separate from the bed. You tape them, you continue. There are moments, deep in a 6-hour session, when the oxygen feed through your suit develops a quality you can't quite name, a slight staleness, a faint resistance, and something very old in your brain, something below language and training, registers it as thin, as not enough. And you learn specifically and through repetition how to look at that response with calm eyes, how to identify it, label it, and continue working. because panic at 300 pounds of pressure in 40 feet of water is the last luxury you can afford. The physics of crushing. The machine is a metal pod at the end of a long arm. It spins. You know the physics before they strap you in. You know that G-force is not weight but acceleration. That 9 times Earth's gravitational pull means your blood, which weighs what it weighs, now weighs 9 times more, and that whatever direction the machine is spinning it, the blood goes there and does not come back without assistance. You know all of this. You are about to discover the difference between knowing it and experiencing it. The spin increases. 4 Gs. The skin on your face moves. Not dramatically. You've seen the test pilot footage. You know what's coming. But the movement is wrong in a way that your nervous system has never previously registered. 5 Gs. 6. The visual field narrows from the edges, the peripheral world going gray and then dark as the blood evacuates your retinas, your brain running short on the fuel it needs to maintain the picture. 7 Gs. 8. You are breathing in a specific pattern. The AGSM, the anti-G straining maneuver. Tense the legs. Tense the abdomen. Exhale in sharp, rhythmic bursts. Physically fight the physics. Force the blood back into your skull through muscular contraction and breathing mechanics. The way you would pump water uphill manually if the pump failed. It works. Your vision holds. 9 Gs. You are 9 times heavier than you were born. Every organ in your chest is being pressed toward the floor of the capsule with the weight of a grown adult. You are breathing in short, controlled intervals against pressure that wants to empty your lungs permanently. And you are staying conscious, deliberately, by brute mechanical effort. When it stops, you understand something about the universe that you could not understand before. That physics is not abstract. That the laws governing this cosmos are willing to reach directly into your body and demonstrate themselves. That space is not going to accommodate your biology. You are going to have to accommodate it. The weight of history. The call comes on a Tuesday. You are told to report to Building 4 South at Johnson Space Center. You know what this means. Every astronaut candidate knows what this means. You walk across the parking lot in the Texas heat and you are still yourself. Your body, still your body. Your thoughts, still your thoughts. Your life, still continuous with everything that preceded it. You open the door. Artemis II. Commander Reed Wiseman, pilot Victor Glover, mission specialist Christina Koch, mission specialist Jeremy Hansen. And you are one of them. The first crewed mission to the moon in over 50 years. The last human beings to orbit the moon were the crew of Apollo 17 in December 1972. You were not alive. You have looked at photographs of them in the way you look at ancient things, with the specific distance of events that preceded your existence. And now you have been placed on the other side of that photograph. You are the continuation of something you once could only observe. The press conferences begin. Your face is printed in newspapers in countries you have never visited. Politicians quote you in speeches delivering words you have not yet said. Children in schools are told to watch. You stand in front of cameras and microphones and answer questions about how it feels. And you give the correct answers, the thoughtful, measured, human answers, while somewhere underneath the performance, you are absorbing the weight of what has just been handed to you. Not a mission. History, compressed into a seat in a capsule named Integrity, waiting at Launch Complex 39B, the same pad that sent men to the moon 54 years ago. You stop being entirely a person. You become partly a symbol. And the symbol, you will discover, is heavier than the spacesuit. Orion Simulator. The simulator does not spare you. It is built to kill you. Not you specifically, I'm the version of you that makes assumptions. The version that believes, having trained for a scenario, that the scenario is finished. The simulator's designers have spent decades cataloging every possible failure mode of the Orion spacecraft. Every valve that can stick, every sensor that can lie, every cascade effect that begins with one anomaly and ends with 4 deaths. And they have built those failures into the machine, randomized them, and scheduled them to arrive at the worst possible moment, during a burn, during a maneuver, during the 7 minutes of atmospheric re-entry, when you are committed and there is no abort option, and the only path is through. You practice your own death. Not once, hundreds of times. You sit in the simulator cockpit, and the displays tell you that the capsule is on fire, that the pressure is dropping, that the guidance computer has failed over the moon, with no communication window to Houston for the next 40 minutes. Your hands move to the correct switches, not because you are thinking, because you have done this until the action is structural, until it lives in the motor pathways rather than the conscious mind, below the layer of fear, below the layer where thinking happens. This is what the training actually accomplishes. Not the elimination of fear. Fear is appropriate. Fear is correct. Fear means your nervous system is accurately modeling the situation. What the training accomplishes is this. It places the correct response upstream of the fear, so that when the real event arrives, your hands are already moving before your brain has finished understanding what your body is doing. Thousands of hours. The simulator becomes more familiar than your own apartment. You eat lunch in the building where it lives. You dream about the displays. And when the day comes, you will be ready in the way that only complete, obsessive, absolute preparation produces readiness. March 2026. The world continues outside the glass. You watch it from inside. 2 weeks before launch, you enter quarantine. Not symbolic quarantine. Actual, medical, managed isolation. You are separated from everyone who has not been screened because a rhinovirus, a common cold, could abort the mission or kill you at re-entry when your sinuses cannot equalize against the pressure. The most expensive and consequential mission in a generation, grounded by the same pathogen that keeps children home from school. So you live in the astronaut crew quarters at Kennedy Space Center, in a managed environment of controlled sleep schedules and nutrition plans, and twice daily medical checks. Your family comes to see you. There is a window, you stand on one side of it, they stand on the other. You press your hand against the glass and watch their faces, and you understand, for the first time in a physical way, what you have signed. Not the mission documents, not the medical waivers, the implicit contract you made with the people who love you when you chose this path. They knew it was possible. You all knew. And knowing and standing at the window are different things. You sign the life insurance documents. The actuary has already calculated the probability. You read the number. You put the pen down. You pick it up again. That night you lie in the crew quarters and you hold the statistical possibility of your own death at arm's length, and you look at it, not with bravado, not with denial, with the particular clear-eyed equanimity that years of training for your own death scenarios in the simulator has built in you. Slowly, the way bone builds, through pressure, through repetition, through the body deciding that the stress it is being subjected to is a permanent condition and restructuring itself accordingly. You are at peace. The peace is real. And it costs something you won't fully calculate until later. April 1st, 2026, 6:35 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Launch Complex 39B. You have been strapped to the Space Launch System rocket for 4 hours. The suit is pressurized. The cockpit is configured. Houston has given its checks. Outside the small porthole beside your seat, you can see the Florida coastline, the Atlantic glittering in the late afternoon light. A 2-hour launch window. You're going at the beginning of it. 8.8 million pounds of thrust ignite beneath your back. This is not a metaphor. The solid rocket boosters and the RS-25 engines produce a combined force that is not experienced as sound or vibration, but as a physical reordering of the world. The ground shakes in a radius of miles. Birds flush from trees across the causeway. The vehicle accelerates with a violence that your training prepared you for, and that is still, in its reality, beyond what preparation can fully convey. You are not riding a rocket. You are at the top of a controlled detonation. The G's build, the sky goes. Not gradually, in under 3 minutes, the blue above the porthole drains to the specific, perfect black of space, a black that has no gradation, no horizon gradient, no atmosphere to scatter light, just black. Infinite, immediate, permanent black. Main engine cutoff, staging, silence. You've been in space for 8 minutes. You've been training for this for years. And it is still, in its actual occurrence, the most extraordinary thing that has ever happened to a human body that also happened to be your body. You look at Victor. He is looking back at you. He is smiling. You are all smiling. The zero-gravity indicator, a small plush figure called Rise, designed by a child in California as a tribute to Earthrise, lifts gently off the instrument panel and floats between you. You are in orbit. You are going to the moon. April 6th, 2026. You pass within 4,070 miles of the lunar surface and you do not land. That is not this mission. This mission is a test of the machine, a proof of the systems, a confirmation that Orion can carry human beings into deep space and return them. The moon through the window is not the moon from photographs. It is physical, it has texture. The craters are not flat circles, they are deep. They have walls that cast shadows that are absolutely, totally black, no atmosphere to diffuse the light, no air to soften the terminator. The moon is a world of extremes, and you are close enough to see them. Then you go around the far side. The Earth disappears behind the lunar limb. Houston goes silent. Not silent because the radio is off, silent because the moon is between you and every transmitter on Earth, and radio waves do not bend around planets. For the duration of the far side pass, you are unreachable. There is no frequency on which anyone can speak to you or hear you. You are 4 people in a capsule named Integrity on the far side of the moon, and the universe does not know where you are. The distance counter reads 406,731 kilometers from Earth. You have broken the record set by the crew of Apollo 13 in 1970, broken under circumstances that were then an emergency and are now the planned peak of a mission built to go farther. You are the farthest human beings from Earth in the history of the species. Every person who has ever lived, every civilization that has ever risen and fallen, every child ever born on the surface of that hidden planet behind the moon, all of it is farther from you right now than it has ever been from any human body that existed before yours. The silence is not empty. It has a quality, a texture. You will spend the rest of your life trying to describe it to people and not quite succeeding. April 7th to 8th, 2026. You are coasting home. The burn is complete. The trajectory is set. The physics are running, and the physics will bring you back without further intervention unless something goes wrong. And you have trained for the things that can go wrong, and right now nothing is wrong. And so you float to the window with your camera, and you point it outward. The Milky Way is not what it looks like from Earth. From Earth, it is a suggestion. A faint smear across the sky on the clearest possible night, competing with every photon of artificial light humanity has ever produced. Out here, it is a structure, a physical object overhead, dense at the core, spiraling outward, 100,000 light years across, and you are looking at it from a point near the edge of one of its arms with nothing between your eye and the photons those stars emitted thousands of years ago except 3 millimeters of fused silica. You find Earth in the window. It is small. This is the thing that hits you and does not stop hitting you, the thing that rearranges something in the deep structure of how you understand the universe. You have always known intellectually that Earth is small relative to the cosmos. You have said the words. You have understood the numbers. But the numbers are not the same as the window. The numbers are abstract. The window is a marble, a blue-white marble in an ocean of perfect black. And on that marble is every ocean, every mountain range, every city and field and forest, every person alive right now going about their Tuesday, every person who ever lived, every war ever fought over a border that from here is invisible, every love ever declared in a language that from here is inaudible. You hold this in your mind all at once, the marble and the scale and the smallness and the impossible, terrifying beauty of the smallness, and something shifts in you, not metaphorically, neurologically, phenomenologically, permanently. The astronauts call it the overview effect. The clinical name does not capture it. It is closer to grief than awe. It is the specific sadness of seeing something that you cannot unsee and knowing that most of the people on that marble will never see it. You photograph it until Houston asks you to prepare for the next trajectory correction. You keep looking anyway. April 9th, 2026, right now, not in the past, not in the reconstructed memory of a mission that has ended. Right now, in real time, as these words exist in the world, you are in the Orion capsule named Integrity, 9 days out from Kennedy Space Center, coasting back toward the planet that made you at 24,000 miles per hour. Tomorrow, the capsule hits the atmosphere above the Pacific. At that speed, the friction between the heat shield and the air molecules produces temperatures approaching 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter than the surface of the sun. For 7 minutes, you will be encased in a plasma fireball visible from the ground, and the only thing between you and that fireball is a shield of AV coat ablative material that was engineered to absorb the heat by burning away, sacrificing itself in layers, so that the capsule inside remains at a temperature compatible with human life. You have trained for those 7 minutes more than you have trained for anything. You know every switch, every contingency, every abort mode. Your hands know what to do when the displays fail, when the attitude drifts, when the parachutes need to be manually triggered because the automated sequence did not complete. But right now, none of that is happening. Right now, you are in the quiet, the specific, enormous quiet of a vehicle coasting through space with its engines off, 9 days of mission behind it, the Pacific ahead. The 4 of you, Reed, Victor, Christina, Jeremy, have been to the moon and back. You have held your planet in the frame of a small window and felt it change you. You have been the farthest from home of any human beings alive, farther than almost any human being in history. You are not the person who boarded the vehicle at Launch Complex 39B 8 days ago. That person had trained for this, had prepared for this, had imagined every detail of this, from the G-forces at launch to the silence behind the moon to the photographs of the Milky Way. That person was ready. But readiness and experience are not the same thing. And the experience in the actual irrevocable physical experience of having been there has done something to you that no amount of preparation could have done. You belong partly to space now. You have been claimed by the distance. The marble in the window is still with you, a permanent alteration in the architecture of how you understand your own existence. Tomorrow the heat shield burns. Tomorrow the parachutes deploy. Tomorrow, a ship in the Pacific pulls you out of the water and hands you a phone, and your family's voices come through it, and you sit in the sunshine on the deck of a recovery vessel and feel, for the first time in 9 days, the weight of your own body in a gravitational field. But right now, you are still out here. Right now, in the capsule called Integrity, in the absolute black between the moon and the Earth, you wait. You look out the window. You are the farthest thing the human species has ever sent and brought back. You look at the Mars